Hello, I'm Kyle Johnson, lead game director on Drowning in the Abyss. Now, this is a game that I've been working on for the past 2 to 3 years, not full time, of course, but the occasional weekend and working on it here and there. It's finally starting to shape up, and with me now being without a job for 2 times in 2 years, I found myself with a lot of time to really refine it to make it nice and pretty, and it's just right there now. Hi, I'm Kyle Johnson, lead game designer on Drowning in the Abyss. Now, when it came to decide what type of gameplay I wanted to go for, there is a large amount of genres I could choose, but instead I wanted to choose one that's close to my own heart. I have been playing JRPGs ever since I've been 5 years old when I was playing Final Fantasy X. There are many games out there with some mechanics that I really like. Usually they're either too weak or that they're too strong. One of those things is buffs and debuffs. In order to find a fix for this, I've created the combat tokens. There are positive and negative combat tokens. Each one is a buff or a debuff, and each one has a stack number and a turn number. When you have an extra stack, it's the double of the amount of buff you have. 20% of strength becomes 40% of strength. When a character gets a buff or a debuff, the combat token slides into the road directly underneath the character. As you can see, each character has 4 different notches, and so they can only have 4 buffs completely. Now, when you get one, it slides all of the current buffs you have over 1 notch, and when it reaches the end, it completely disappears. You can see what can happen here. When you have an enemy you're fighting and he has so many buffs, you can then just give it a debuff, and it will slide that 1 buff off. 2 for the price of 1. Here is one of the starting enemies of the game, the cat guard. He doesn't hurt all that much, but it's hard to hit him. And if you ever miss an attack, it triggers his passive, Feline Agility, which gives him an evasion up token. So if you keep missing him, you're going to be in a sticky situation. Fang, one of the main characters of the game, has the unique class only for her called Gem Thief, and in it she has the ability Steal, allows her to steal the first positive combat token on the roll. And lucky for us, the only combat token the cat guard has is Evasion Up. So as long as the steal hits the enemy, the token is now yours, taking away the main advantage the enemy was building. There are many ways you could have handled this situation. Another one would have been to buff everyone's hit so they could be even with the cat guard's evasion. Or you could stack as many debuffs as possible and try to push the evasion off the token's row. Let me show you another situation. The enemy is filled up on high stacked tokens, and using Steal would only take 1 of the 4. That's where Sync abilities comes in, the strongest ability of each character in the game. Kride, the main character, has the Sync ability Banshee's Glare. This extremely powerful technique allows you to invert all positive tokens to become negative tokens. This is also set up because Fang's Gem Class Thief also has the skill Coup de Grace, which when used will consume all negative tokens and deal damage based on the amount of stacks they have. All of this is just 2 characters and 2 classes. You can imagine how complicated this will be when we get with 4 characters and 2 classes. Hello, I'm Kyle Johnson, lead art director on Drowning in the Abyss. Now, a few years ago, I picked up drawing on my own because I realized there was only so much I could do as a mere programmer. But after spending thousands upon thousands of hours, working from day 1 all the way to where I am now on day 772, I've really made some good progress. Now, of course, I would have rather spent even more time getting even better. With me being laid off twice in 2 years, it's really forced my hands. And so, what you're going to be seeing is completely human-generated content. Successes and their failures all matched up. And I think there's a bit of sincerity to it that you might not get in another product.
The game definitely had to grow alongside me. I had to learn as I was creating, so a lot of the game had to be redone and remade in order for it to be something that looks alright. If you look back 3 years ago when I first started this project, I wasn't a very good artist. The game didn't have any environmental textures and the character art was horrible. If you compare the game from 3 years ago to 7 months ago, it's a colossal step up. And if you compare 7 months ago to today, it's also a big step up. When working on a project only by yourself, every texture you see and every mistake you make ultimately has to be fixed by you, which can take a lot of time, and it can be hard to tell if the fix you did made it any better. Starting my drawing journey was incredibly hard. I had no talent in it at all, so any progress made was hard earned. Looking back from where I started to where I am now, I can tell that I've absolutely been getting better. And when I reach day 1000, day 2000, I think I'm going to look back to today and think, wow, I got a lot better from those days.